All right, let's dive into a pretty big idea today. What would happen if our universities started to think more like startups? We're going to break down how to actually transform these amazing academic institutions into real dynamic hubs of innovation.
So let's kick things off with the big question. How in the world do you make that jump from a careful, methodical research lab to the super fast-paced, risk-taking world of a Silicon Valley startup? They can feel like they're on two different planets, but the bridge between them, well, it's all about a shift in mindset.
And that leap can feel so huge because of what you might call an innovation bottleneck. See, in a lot of academic settings, the very traditions that create rigor and stability can sometimes accidentally slow things down. They can filter out the kind of bold, game-changing ideas that we really need.
I mean, just look at the difference here. On one hand, you have the traditional environment, which, it often values caution. That can lead to a culture that's pretty risk-averse and moves at a slower pace. People often work in their own separate silos. But the startup world? It's the total opposite. It thrives on calculated risks. It's built for speed, for collaboration, and it absolutely encourages those disruptive, out-of-the-box ideas.
So, how do we break through that bottleneck? Well, it all kicks off with a major shift in how we think. It's about adopting a startup mindset. And this isn't just about, tolerating risk. It's about fully embracing it as a crucial, even essential part of how innovation actually happens.
So what does a startup culture really mean inside a university? It's an environment where innovation isn't just a buzzword on a poster. It's an action. It's about actively practicing and weaving new ideas right into the fabric of teaching and research. That way you're not just keeping up with trends, you're actually the ones setting them.
And here's a huge piece of that mindset shift, probably the biggest one. It's getting comfortable with this idea. Failure isn't something to be avoided at all costs. It's a natural, it's a necessary, and honestly, it's an incredibly valuable part of the journey to any real breakthrough.
Okay, so how do you actually make failure, normal and constructive? First, you have to create a genuinely supportive space where people feel safe enough to take those big swings. Then, you reframe setbacks. They're not dead ends, they're opportunities to learn something new. And finally, you share the stories. You talk about the failures that actually paved the way for success. That's how you build real, lasting resilience in a team. All right, so you've built this culture where it's okay to fail. Awesome. What's next? Well, now you have to actively fuel the creative talent that lives in that culture. See, it's not enough to just allow innovation to happen. You have to find really powerful ways to support and reward the people doing it. And here are 3 fantastic ways to do just that. First up, give them concrete support. Offer grants, seed funding, get those new projects off the ground. Second, recognize their wins publicly. Give out awards, feature them in publications, make your innovators visible. And third, create clear pathways for them to grow, showing that innovative work leads to real career advancement and leadership roles.
And this kind of recognition can happen all over the place. Big institutional events are great, for sure. They make up a big slice of the pie. But don't underestimate the power of consistent celebration in things like newsletters or even just simple, meaningful shout-outs in team meetings. When you put it all together, you create this undeniable culture where people feel seen and valued.
All right, let's get down to the nitty-gritty. How do you actually turn this mindset and these rewards into real, practical, day-to-day strategies? Let's talk about the actual step-by-step process of building this new culture.
This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that startup spirit. It's not about scrambling to keep up with the latest tech. No, it's about being the place where those new trends are born. It's a totally proactive approach to shaping the future, not just reacting to it.
Think of this as your innovation playbook. Step 1, and this one is huge, you have to officially set aside protected time for people to work on these new ideas. Step 2, give them the resources they need, the tools, the tech, the funding. Step 3, create safe spaces to experiment, like a pilot program or an innovation lab, where it's okay if things don't work out perfectly. 4, support continuous learning to keep everyone sharp. And finally, number 5, you have to actively encourage collaboration across different departments to break down those silos for good.
So we have the playbook. Now let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. Because, let's be honest, having great ideas is one thing, but getting them off the ground and getting your leadership on board, that's the real challenge, right?
And here are some real-world examples where these strategies paid off big time. One institution tried out game-based learning for the first time. The result?
Students were way more engaged and the feedback was just fantastic. Another one adopted collaborative tools like Google Workspace, which totally streamlined how they did research and made their teams way more productive. So you see, these aren't just theories, they have a direct, positive impact.
Ah, and here it is, the million-dollar question, isn't it? How do you get the people at the top to support these new and, yeah, sometimes risky ideas?
Well, it really boils down to a smart, three-step game plan. First, you come prepared with clear evidence, hard data, success stories that really shows the potential impact. Second, you start small. You don't ask for the world right away. Propose a small pilot project to prove the concept and show off the benefits. And third, communicate your vision clearly and show exactly how your innovative idea helps the whole institution achieve its most important goals.
And when you do all this, the payoff is incredible. By building a true culture of innovation, your institution doesn't just get a little bit better, it completely transforms. It becomes a leader, a place that is actively shaping the future of education and research for everyone.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Forget about the huge 5-year strategic plan for just a second. What's one small, manageable risk your team or your institution could take tomorrow just to get the ball rolling?